I hate spending money on video games, not because I'm broke, but because when presented with the option to buy a $60 game or $60 worth of food,
I'ma eat it.
As the ultimate min-maxer, I'm gonna make sure I pay the least amount for the most amount of value possible. This very concept is why most of the games I've purchased on Steam are under $20. But you know, finding good games for cheap can sometimes be very hard. But my experience as a mobile gamer has really given me this ability to just discern trash from a genuinely good game. Whether it be during Steam sales or browsing the $10 and unders tab on Steam, I'm always looking for cheap games to sink countless hours into. Due to the games I played growing up, I tend to have a major bias towards 2D or pixelated games, which luckily for me end up being on the cheaper side of the spectrum. Sometimes I find a game so good and so cheap that I've gone beyond penny pinching. I think I might be Hey guys, EnderHerve here, bringing you another episode of Pixel Pinching. Today we're going to be talking about Kadomon Hyper Auto Battler, and for the rest of the video I'm just going to call it Kadomon just to make it easier for myself so I don't have to say that whole blurb each time. This is another early access game, so by the time the game fully releases, the price may increase, but for now you can pick up this game for $10. Kadomon is a creature collecting auto battler with Slay the Spire-esque choose your own path gameplay. Now, since I'm a huge fan of Pokemon, we were bound to talk about some creature collectors in the series. Auto battlers are also games that are also on my radar because when I was a mobile gamer, I was big on idle games. And auto battlers are just idle games with a couple of extra steps. In your standard Kadomon run, you start off with the classic choice between a water, grass, or fire starter. Once you've picked your starter, you pick whichever path you'd like to go on, fighting against teams of Kadomon, mini-bosses, or stopping at campsites and random events to get random bonuses. After battling Kadomon, you have the choice to add one to your team. At campsites, you can add an extra type to your Kadomon or give one of your Kadomon extra XP. After every battle, you enter the shop, where you can buy items for your Kadomon or buy some more Kadomon. On top of items, there are also field effects which give you passives during your run or during battle. Every few battles, you'll be able to pick up an item and an extra field effect, although beating a mini-boss will grant you an item and field effect automatically and reset your counter. Kadomon can evolve twice normally through getting XP, but have a special final evolution called Hyper Evolutions. These Hyper Evolutions happen when your Kadomon is holding a specific item and gains XP. You can find out which item you need for Hyper Evolution in the Kadodex. As of right now, there are 12 typings for Kadomon. The more of one type you have on your team, the more points you get towards that typing synergy, which gives your team small bonuses. Well, I say small bonuses because most of the time they don't feel that great unless it's like the Dusk bonus. Each typing has their own niche, as well as certain stats that are more common inside of these types. You keep going down your chosen path until you reach the boss of the region. After defeating the boss of the region, you move on to the next region. For now, there are 3 regions in the game, so when you beat the 3rd boss, you have 1 to run. After the run, you probably got some progress for one of the many quests that you need to complete in order to unlock more items or more Kadomon. Bro, we've only gotten through like halfway of the video and I've said Kadomon so many times that it's starting to sound weird to me. Before I get into why I like this game so much, I think it's important to address some of the reviews and overall sentiment on this game. When this game had first released, there was a lot of bugs, on top of some problems with the game running correctly. Since then, a lot of the bugs have been ironed out and the game runs much smoother. Unfortunately for the devs, the negative reviews they received upon release has really hurt the game's reputation. If you're still hesitant about purchasing the game, there is a demo that's just called like the game's name but the prologue, which is the prologue and is the demo. Playing this demo could probably give you enough information you need in order to decide whether or not you want to actually play the game or if you think it's not worth it. All that being said, even when this game was a buggy mess, I thoroughly enjoyed playing it. There are a lot of Kadomon to use and a bunch of broken combos to discover. Though I think some of these combos will be patched out of the game eventually, but it's still fun to play around with different item and mon combos. Like, once you have a good grasp on what everything does, the possibilities are endless. And I mean like, literally endless, like infinite loop endless. Yeah, I don't think this one can stay into the game. But all the Kadomon are strong in their own special way, and it's fun figuring out what items, field effects, and other Kadomon to pair them with to get the most out of their abilities. When it comes to the actual creatures in this creature collector, I would say that they're pretty unique. A big problem I have with creature collectors is when they look too much like Pokemon. Yeah, there's a lot of Pokemon, and it's not like Pokemon has the right to every monster design in the world, but sometimes these creature collectors can just feel like blatant ripoffs. The Kadomon in this game are cool, and have a lot of charm to them, especially considering that their names are just a combination of 2 words. Like for example, the grass starter, Belief. It's just a combination of believe and leaf. The water starter, Crease. It's just a combination of crab and freeze. And literally every mon is just a combination of 2 words. It's almost like the developers used a random word generator to come up with these mons, and they hit the actual design of the mon on the nail every time. There are even 2 misprint variations of a Kadomon, which is this game's way of doing shinies that can sometimes be references to Pokemon. Gameplay wise, I would say that the game is kind of simple, but since it's an auto battler, that kind of just, comes with the genre in my opinion. Because once you figure out the broken strategies, you can really just run the same team every time and just win every time. Thankfully, most of the quests require you to kind of use specific teams and like try out different things. But after that, there really isn't much to it. Since this game is in early access, after you complete like all the quests that they give you, which can take a while, there really isn't anything for you to do after that. You could go ahead and try to complete the Kadodex. You can continue to just find out weird and wacky combos, but as far as like other game modes go, or like maybe even how Slay Spire has like ascension levels, there's none of that yet. Personally, after I finished all the quests, I just started trying to complete the Kadodex. You could also try to hunt for misprints, since there's 2 misprints for each Kadomon, and they're pretty rare. You could also do that, though there really isn't a method to doing it other than just playing the game and trying to get some in your shop. But as far as like actual game goes, there isn't much of it after you basically figure everything out, which is something that is talked a lot about in the Discord, and the developer is aware of and is working on as we speak. And did I mention that this game is almost entirely made by like 1 person? It's a very small dev team, which is true for most indie games. And I know that every time people like complain and stuff, like they're doing their best to fix it. It's not as simple as we may think to just fix a game, and that's why I really do appreciate the devs, because even with the bugs and stuff, I really did enjoy the game, and I'm so excited to see what they have in store for this game. Speaking of the Discord though, this game has a small Discord community that is a great place to ask questions or ask for help if you need it. I'm in there, and so are a bunch of other seasoned vets that can answer almost any questions you may have about the game. So yeah, Kadomon is the best of both worlds when it comes to creature collecting and auto battling. I'm confident that once this game is fully released, that it will be one of my top games on Steam, and maybe just one of the top auto battlers in general. I could understand if you'd rather wait for the game to be fully released to pick it up, but to me, this is one of my favorite games to be released this year. You could always just try out the demo and get a feel for the game until the game fully releases, and then, maybe purchase it. But right now, it's at $10. It's probably gonna be like, I don't know, 15 when it drops. If it stays at 10, good for them. But of course, there'll be sales and stuff to bring it back down. But I'm just saying, if you want to hop on it, go ahead and hop on it now. But of course, you can just do the demo. The demo is basically the same thing. I think it just has less regions, and the mechanics are a little bit different. So thank you guys for watching this video. As always, like, comment, and subscribe if you want, and I'll catch you on the flip.